afternoon. I'm so pleased to see so many friends, colleagues, and partners joining us today for the launch of the UKRI AI Centre for Doctoral Training and Safe AI Systems, SAINTS. I'm Ibrahim Habli. I'm the SAINTS Director. Some logistics before we start. We're not expecting any fire alarm tests. So if you hear a siren, it's real, I think, or a drill. And then it's the nearest exit is the main entrance, and the fire assembly point is just the open space in front of you. So for this session, we'll have a number of talks introducing SAINTS, hearing more about interdisciplinary research here at York, doctoral training at York, and what's special about that. But also we are very thrilled to have Chris Johnson with us. Chris is the Chief Scientific Advisor for DSET. Chris is an academic and a researcher in safe and resilient systems and a York graduate. So Chris, it's great to have you with us as our keynote presenter. And of course we're going to hear from students, our SAINTS students, about what they've been up to this point. It's just been 3 months. The next session after a break will go all the way to ISA, just a 1 minute walk, and where we'll have opportunities to network as well as have some demos and discussions with students. Okay, back to SAINTS. So at the heart of SAINTS is the question of AI safety. And at the moment, there are many narratives surrounding the topic. The most newsworthy one is the saving humanity narrative. Okay, and you see it in the Guardian article where Geoffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI, a Nobel Prize winner in physics, has highlighted a new thing. He's updated his predictions that now we have 10 to 20% chance AI will lead to human extinction in 3 decades. So that's one narrative, saving humanity, controlling the beast, as it were. And it's a very exciting observation, and as a center, we continue to engage intellectually with the topic. However, that's not, unfortunately, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, the SAINTS narrative. So we're more interested in safety as a condition for AI-enabled products and services which are beneficial to society and the economy, and ensuring that the deployment of those technologies, AI technologies, is done in a responsible way. So it's less newsworthy, but hopefully more impactful. And that's basically what, in line with another article, more reasonable, from the Financial Times, saying, based on a survey from the commissioned by the British government, DSET, that found that 4 out of 10 people expect AI to deliver benefits. That's good. However, 3 out of 10 anticipate significant harm. And these are the kinds of things we're interested in addressing so we get the benefits. And this is in line with our vision in SAINTS, which hasn't changed since we wrote the bit. So we didn't update it just to keep up with what's going on. So our vision is to train a cohort of 60 talented PhD students with the research expertise and skills necessary to ensure that the benefits of AI-enabled autonomous systems are realized without introducing harm as the systems and their environments evolve. And here, although I'm a safety researcher, and safety academic, I deem benefits. So we're invested in safety, but benefits are very important, including AI making things safer. It's not just worrying about AI itself, but AI delivering benefit. And this seems to be in line, assuringly, with the approach that the current government is taking in terms of highlighting and ensuring that we reap the benefits of AI, but as long as we do it responsibly, which is very important for us as a CDT, and also very important generally for the UK, given the UK's special position when it comes to safety certification and assurance services. So let me expand a little bit on SAINTS vision as far as the research and training are concerned. So the research within SAINTS will be focused on the lifelong safety assurance of increasingly autonomous AI systems in dynamic and uncertain contexts, building on methodologies and concepts in disciplines spanning AI, safety science, philosophy, law, and the social sciences. And within science, we have two overarching research themes, because we can't just address the whole of this AI safety problem. So we're being more realistic, and we are prioritizing two themes. The first one is the theme of lifelong safety assurance, which is we are interested in ensuring that systems, when they are deployed, they're safe, but also they continue to be safe throughout their deployment. And we know from working for many, many years with the safety-critical industries that ensuring and maintaining safety is at least as challenging as designing those systems in the first place. So that's the first theme. And we know this is particularly important for AI given its fluid nature. The second theme is the theme of autonomy. We are granting AI systems more autonomy, and this brings with it challenges to do with human-AI interaction, questions about human agency, moral responsibility, as well as legal liability, and how we allocate, trace, and conceptualize these. These remain open questions. The third thing to mention in our vision is there isn't a shortage of literature on how safe AI is in perfect lab-based environments. Okay, and which is in many cases good science. If we're interested in generating evidence in more representative environments, building on the great partnerships we have within science, and aiming for that to inform debate based on credible real-world evidence rather than hypothetical one. The final thing to mention about this vision is that AI safety and safety generally is a cross-disciplinary issue. It's a socio-technical matter, not purely a technical one. And our team reflects this in terms of where we've come from. So as a CDT, we come from 5 different departments: computer science, philosophy, law, sociology, and health sciences, cutting across the 3 faculties we had here at York. And it wasn't one of those questions where there was a call for funding, just we came together to respond to it. We've been working with each other for many, many years, teaching with each other, winning bids, writing papers. So and SAINTS represents another milestone in our shared journey. So here we have the SAINTS management team missing 2 important people, Helen and Alex, who are the reason why we're here and helping us manage the CDT. Unfortunately, 2 colleagues left us. Zoe Porter and Ian Larmour both played a key part in reaching this stage. Okay, so science and its roots. So the idea of science, the idea of safety, is deeply rooted in this place as a university for public good. And York has a rich tradition of social justice and the use of our knowledge for the betterment of human conditions and life. And the idea of systems, AI systems being safe and used to make things safer is in itself a public good. And I hope science will serve that institutional mission. More specific to the question of safety itself, science benefited massively from a body of knowledge and safety, which has been generated for over 4 decades now. So even 2 months ago, I had to teach one of the science modules on the foundations of AI safety, where I ended up citing and using one of the papers generated or written in 1989, Issues in Developing Software for Safety-Critical Systems, written by my colleague John McDermott, where many of the issues to do with confidence through life safety, issues of uncertainty, what safety means. There's still open questions to this one, but at least we managed to frame some of the discussions. Another paper which was useful, this is by one of our PhD students, Zishan Kurd and Tim Kelly, which was written later in 2003, titled Safety Life Cycle for Developing Safety-Critical Artificial Neural Networks. So this was written during the third winter of AI, where everyone's saying it's the end of it. And also, why would anyone think of putting AI in a safety-critical application? So this paper was written then, and even better, it wasn't like a theoretical research. The work was funded by Rolls-Royce. So I think this shows some foresight, hopefully. But relevant to SAINTS and AI, for the last 7 to 8 years, we've been fortunate to receive funding from UKRI and, more importantly, from the Lloyd's Register Foundation to establish the Assuring Autonomy International Program, our current Centre for Assuring Autonomy, and the Institute for Safe Autonomy, and a body of knowledge in this area, which help us at least demonstrate to our funders that we have a starting point. And by its nature, the work was interdisciplinary. The other thing to mention in terms of roots is not just the research we've done, but the impact it has had. And here, luckily in the UK, we have, luckily or not, depending on who you are, we have the Research Excellence Framework, where we are forced to collect evidence that evidence was achieved rather than just another piece of paper. And I'm glad that we were able to play our part in demonstrating impact throughout, as far as standards and regulations are concerned, but also specific practices, in particular in safety case use. SAINTS is a training program, just not a research program. And again, the fact that we had long-running as well as a new program in this area, safety, philosophy, AI, helped a lot just for us to make a start. And finally, when it comes to the question of doctoral training itself, there is a good tradition at York in running CDTs within at least computer science. This is our second CDT running at the same time, and we've learned a lot from an existing Center for Doctoral Training in intelligent games and games intelligence in terms of training as well as other kinds of activities. But also as far as our selection and recruitment process, we're fortunate to be working very closely with the Yorkshire Consortium for Equity in Doctoral Education. So we're able just to make a change in the way we select and encourage students from different backgrounds. Okay, so what about the training program itself? What are we doing now? So that's what we promised in the bit, and that's still the same with some adjustments. So the way the program works is, at the heart of it, remains a PhD student. Okay, so at the end of it, there is personal research, concluding with a thesis and a viva that a student will defend. But the beauty of CDT PhD is the surrounding activities. And within SAINTS, we've developed at least five new modules, or we call them courses. And all students, regardless of their background, attend this. And this helps with building a cohort rather than just being selective in what students attend. So we start off the training journey after an induction with a Python bootcamp, followed by a course on AI itself, so that all students have a consistent understanding of the technology. Then we have a 3-part course on law, society, and ethics, basically saying it's good to understand the technology as well as the context within which it is deployed. And then we hit, if you like, the core topic, which is AI safety itself, where we had 3 different courses on foundations, designing AI systems which are safe, as well as maintaining them. So up to this point, our students have attended up to the foundations of AI safety modules, so it's been a very intense period up to this point. But they can tell you more about it later. The other aspect of component of the program is the professional as well as responsible AI training. And as you can see on the diagram, it's not a one-off activity. It's a continuous activity through workshops as well as seminars. And the idea behind it is to give students time to reflect on their training, on their practice, but also on their career choices. Because we know that many of them will change their mind, and that's a good thing. We have opportunities to come together through quarterly workshop meetings where teams come together, and we'll say more about teams, as well as annual activities. And importantly, we have secondments and internships, where students are seconded for 3 to 6 months to one of our industrial, regulatory, or policy partners. And that's a very important aspect of it. And that links back to the team itself, because many of us within the SAINTS team come from industry and the public sector. And that's very important because we can't train the next generation if we ourselves lack it. But here we have the added benefit of having supportive partners. Speaking of whom, I have a busy slide. This is my busiest slide, but it's by design. So we're super fortunate that we have 35 supportive partners from industry representing key safety critical sectors, aerospace, automotive, healthcare, and others. Heavyweight regulators, so to ensure that basically we're not just in for practice, but regulation and policy, as well as many others. And I don't have time to just specifically say the special support we received from all of them. But I'm going to be unfair and mention a couple or three. The first one is Jaguar Land Rover and Rob Palin in particular, because I remember when I made the call about receiving their support, Rob was super supportive as one of our graduates, and he said it clearly that he wanted others to get the York experience. So we're thankful to Rob as well as JLR. The other person is Sarah Dow. Sarah from NATS joined our interview panel, because it was a very competitive process. We're told it's 3% success rate. And Sarah helped us make the case for safety, because when she says safety, she means that as working for NATS. So that made a huge difference. The last partner to mention is the Joan and Erwin Jacobs Foundation and the philanthropic gift we received from them, which made a big difference in giving us 10 additional studentships, in particular to improve our wider participation obligations. So that was an important aspect. But again, I don't have time to go through the list, but I can if Alex gives me more time, but she won't. Okay, so thank you for your attention. Okay, good. So I'll hand over now to Sarah. Thank you.
You even control the slides.
Well,
Thank you, Ibrahim. And good afternoon, everybody. My name's Sarah Thompson. I'm the Associate Pro-vice Chancellor for Research here, and also stepping in as the Acting Director of the Institute for Safe Autonomy. So I've got a number of hats on for my 5 minutes or so that I've got, and I'd like to do something with each of those hats. And the first of those is to welcome you very much to the university. And my 3 roles are to set SAINTS in the context of the university, carrying on what Ibrahim has said a little bit already, say a little bit about interdisciplinary research, which is absolutely core to our research strategy, but also to put SAINTS in the context of the Institute for Safe Autonomy, which is very much its home. And I should say that in terms of what Ibrahim has been describing in the training programme and our students, in my role, the ISA Director's office is right next to the coffee machine. So in all of those coffee moments that I'm just eavesdropping ever so slightly, I have heard those conversations between our students from so many different backgrounds and starting to tussle with those very different disciplines and trying to understand what that means for safe autonomy. And that's a fantastic thing to be happening right at the beginning of SAINTS. So, university and context. So for our university, we're very, very proud of this slide. This is Charlie's slide, favourite slide, I believe, which shows that York is one of the few universities which is in the top 10 for that research excellence framework, as well as teaching excellence. So as soon as we talk about doctoral training, we bring those 2 parts to the university together, and absolutely wish to excel in that marriage of these 2 parts of what we do. So SAINTS sits right at the heart of that. Ibrahim has already set up the university in terms of the public good, but it's worth just reading this one out. There's the purpose of the university. The University of York, the advancement of knowledge, the development of ideas, theories and concepts, and through collaboration with others, is done for the public good. That's at the heart of the university, and we've seen is absolutely at the heart of SAINTS. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to put out one slide about our university research strategy, because I think SAINTS absolutely exemplifies everything that is on this slide and shows how, for a university research strategy, you have to have all of these things if we're going to bring them together to achieve that creativity and action-oriented research. So we have 5 pillars on our research strategy: people and culture, ideas, impact, partnership, support and infrastructure. And just think for a moment about what Ibrahim has been talking to us about. People and culture. This is our students, this is training, this is making sure we do this in an equitable fashion. I know that Paul is going to talk in a moment about the really innovative ways in which we've recruited our students. So that's absolutely at the heart of this. Ideas and creativity. Ibrahim gave you the history, the background of SAINTS, those ideas of artificial intelligence and autonomous systems. We want it to have impact, the public good. That's what this is all about. We have to work with partners. That phenomenal set of partners that we've seen, and so many of you are here today, could not happen without that. And last but certainly not least, the support that we need to have. We have the York Graduate Research School, Paul's going to talk to us about in just a moment, but all our professional colleagues, you mentioned Helen and Alex in particular, but all those people who work so hard to bring this together. So Ibrahim missed out one thing, I think, in your talk at the end, was I think we should just pause for a moment and acknowledge how fantastic it is to have got to this point today with such a fabulous CDT launch. And I think we should thank you and give a big round of applause to everybody who's participated in getting this going. So, that's the first hat. But now I want to drill down just a little bit, because at the heart of the work on autonomous systems is interdisciplinary work. That's why SAINTS is so novel. That's why it's been quite a lot of work to put it together, but that the benefits are so great. This is a core of the university research strategy and the way in which we do research. And we have a number of centres where that interdisciplinarity really comes together. So there's a couple more that I've put up on here. York Environmental Sustainability Institute. And I think these strap lines here actually say more than the title. So, generating sustainable solutions to global challenges, looking at the Institute of Health and Mental Health Research at York, bringing people together, for example, and then the York Biomedical Research Institute. So we have a number of those across the university, a few more, but the one that's relevant here is the Institute for Safe Autonomy, and this is the home of SAINTS. So Ibrahim said a little bit about the background of safety work at the university, but the institute is a little bit broader even than that. It is the first institute that leads on the safety of AI and autonomous systems, and it has an absolute brief to work with partners, government, industry, regulators, public services to make that happen. So I want to say just a little bit more about the institute. So Ibrahim, I think, has already given the mission, but it also builds on that safety background which Ibrahim talked about, but is a little bit broader than that if we're going to look at the whole of the autonomous systems. And I'll come on to that in just a moment. But it's just across the way. I think we're going to be over there in a moment. It's a physical building. It's a living lab. So there are robots and drones all over the place. We have a solar farm around the outside. We have lots of researchers based there, over 100 people physically in the building, but it's a gateway to research across the university. And of course it's had a lot of investment, both from UK government, from industry and from philanthropy in order for that to succeed. Just like Ibrahim's slide of SAINTS, ISA's research partners are many. We see some of those logos there. So just to give you the breadth of the work that goes on in ISA, yes, there is the safety heart to it, but it also brings in software work in verifying software. It brings in robotics in terms of how we interact with robots as well as how we use them. Communications. if you're going to have an autonomous system, those communications must be resilient, they must be secure. That means advanced technologies, it means quantum communications, it means the next generation wireless communications. And the key thing that goes across all of this is the society and ethics pillar, as we call it, that brings everything together and makes it possible to introduce to society. So the SAINTS CDT sits in the Institute for Safe Autonomy. It is, I think, Ibrahim, you say it's that the last chink in what it does. So we have the research, we have the impact, and now we can really train the next generation, which goes along with the continuous professional development that was already happening. So I hope I set the scene a little bit for you so that you can see how SAINTS sits in the university, the context, how proud we all are of SAINTS. And I'm now going to pass over to our Dean of the York Research Graduate School, who's going to talk much more about our graduate students and what they can expect from being at the University of York.
Hi everyone. So my name's Paul Wakeling. I am the Dean of York Graduate Research School, and that is a job I've been doing for 4 days now. So this is my first official engagement in the role, and what a lovely way to start. I'm sure that not all of my meetings that I attend will be quite as thrilling as this one's going to be, and I'm really looking forward to visiting the Institute of Safe Autonomy later. And I'm also thrilled that I'm able to wear this new suit that I got for Christmas, so it's great to have the opportunity to have an outing for this. One of the things that prompted me to apply for the role of Dean of the York Graduate School is really the enjoyment and the kind of stimulation and the excitement that one gets from working with research students. And of course that's ultimately what Centres for Doctoral Training are all about. And I think when we're thinking about our doctoral education, for me, there are really three components to what makes that good. So first of all, it's about making sure that we have the right topic. Secondly, it's about making sure that we've got the right people. And thirdly, it's about making sure that we've got the right environment. Now, I think SAINTS is doing all of those, and I'm sure you're going to hear much more from the other speakers about the topic of artificial intelligence. I think the fact that we've got so many companies and organisations that are really enthusiastic to work with us on this indicates what an important and worthwhile topic it is. And I think it's really important as well the way that the emphasis is on the public good because of all the risks that we hear in relation to artificial intelligence. But I'm going to talk instead about those second and third components, so about selecting the right people and creating the right environment, and I hope that's what we're able to do within the York Graduate Research School. So I think when you've got an interdisciplinary research centre, it's really challenging to select the right people. And I mean, SAINTS have really gone for it when it comes to interdisciplinarity. So you've got computer science and philosophy, you've got economics and sociology, and getting those disciplines to work together well. That's a challenge, but also potentially really exciting and groundbreaking. And I think when we're thinking about interdisciplinarity, I really like the idea from the sociologists Mike Savage and Susan Holford, who talk about symphonic research. So if we're trying to collect lots of different ways and lots of different movements of research within a research centre, we need to create a research orchestra to do that. And we might think of our interdisciplinary team as being a bit like an orchestra. So you've got those people with those different specialisms, but they've got to play together. They've got to be able to make music in harmony or do research in harmony. So learning from those other disciplines, even if you might not really like the sound of the violin as a brass player. So I think that's one thing to think about when we're selecting. But aside from the interdisciplinary angle, I think it's also important to think about our researchers' life experiences as well. So how do we have research and research questions which reflect the broad nature of our society, that reflects lots of different kinds of lived experience? So if we just have the people who are all the same asking the research questions, then we're only going to be covering certain topics. And I think we already know within AI, once you have an algorithm that's trained in a particular way by a particular set of people, it will give you the same sorts of answers that might be very different to what other people are interested in or to other people's experiences. So reflecting that broad nature of society is really important, and it's something that we've been trying to do at the university through the Yorkshire Consortium for Equity in Doctoral Education. And what that's meant is thinking how we go about the process of recruitment. How do we select our students? We could keep doing the same things, but if we keep doing the same things, then we're going to get the same results. And that might be doing the same things, might be using that traditional approach to recruitment, which really only is concerned with the grades that people get in formal examinations and doesn't look at the broader set of skills that people have. However, when you talk to research supervisors, as we've been doing within YSEED and as other researchers have done as well, what they actually value is much broader than that. And usually the first thing that they mention is kind of resilience or bounce back ability or adaptability as being a key skill for research students. But so often we don't include that in our selection procedures, and people who have got those skills might not be selected because they didn't get 75.6% in their transcript. So I think what SAINTS is doing is really turning that on its head and thinking about what a good interdisciplinary, cutting-edge, adaptable, creative PhD student looks like, and building that into the selection process. So the three-stage process that SAINTS has established, I think, really is an example of great practice and really draws on research evidence to build a great process, which keeps people in and which selects on those things that are being looked for. And that's done in a commendably transparent and clear way as well. But I think for those of us working in YSEED, what's really impressed us about working with Ibrahim and Cynthia and SAINTS colleagues is that even though this is a kind of model recruitment process, the questions they're asking us are, well, how do we make this better? Let's have a look at how things work this year. What shall we do differently for next year? Where are things working well and where are they not? And I think that's super impressive, and that really models, I think, for researchers what you should be doing in your research process when you're doing a PhD. These are the sorts of questions you should be asking yourself. Okay, so that was element number 2 of what makes a great PhD. I think the third thing then is the environment that you find yourself in. And so having the foundation for that is having great supervisors, and you've got a really strong and committed group of supervisors who've cohered around this AI issue and coming at it from different angles. You've got all the innovation that we have in York through the RSVP project, which is a national project funded by Research England to look at how we improve research supervision. So I think you've got some innovative practice in SAINTS about how you allocate students to supervisors through the programme rather than only at the beginning. But I think what's really going to carry you through as a Centre for Doctoral Training is that sense of collective identity. And so for those of you who are in this first SAINTS cohort, well, what a great time to be here. I hope you're really starting to sense this cohort feeling already. From what Sarah was saying about the coffee conversations, that feels like it might be the case. But you're going to learn so much from each other. And I know I did as a PhD student. I continue to learn from my own PhD students. So those connections that you make and those people who are thinking about things completely differently are going to be really valuable for you. So I think my parting statement really is just to say I think I've been studying and working in universities for about 30 years now, and one tends to kind of get a feeling for when things are right, and there's something really sort of special about SAINTS. I can just feel it. So I'm really excited to hear what happens next, and I look forward to hearing all the developments in the future. Thank you.
And thanks for our speakers, Paul, Sarah, and Chris. And I'm glad, Chris, you mentioned the key challenges that we shouldn't shy away from. So we talked about defense during the break, which is a topic, safety of AI in defense topic, which we are addressing in a particular way. Also, I'm glad that health is under the umbrella of DSET, because many of our colleagues are from healthcare. You mentioned ambulances, and Nigel Rees the head of research at the Welsh Ambulance Services are. And these some of the issues we're debating. And I'm glad that they're not just limited to the Department for Health and Social Care, but PSIP is addressing some of those. And we can discuss some of those later. But importantly, the remaining 2 talks are from our SAINTS students. So far I've been talking about what they're doing. And now I think is the right time where they tell us more about what they've been up to, starting with Nina.
Thank you. Well, hi everyone. I'm Nina. I'm a PhD researcher here in New York, thanks to SAINTS. Well, I'm French, as you can hear, so I'm sorry for that. So I'd like to thank you first for being here for the big launch of the SAINTS CDT. So there will be some overlap with the previous presentations because they were all very good. But I guess this is more going to be my point of view, so it's still going to be of interest. So as you know, we have a cohort of 11, which is divided into 2 sub-teams, each addressing 2 main identified challenges. And both of these challenges, I think, demonstrate the complexity of the research yet to conduct on artificial intelligence. So in challenge 1, which I am here to present, we focus on the need to build safety assurance from the early stages of design to post-deployment for increasingly autonomous AI systems. So we mean lifelong safety, and we mean it thoroughly, I think. So it would be commonplace for me to tell you that AI has the potential for common good. So it is a promise to enhance human mastery. And in that sense, it is properly revolutionary. But achieving their full potential is a path full of pitfalls, and that requires us to leave nothing to chance. So that's what SAINTS is for. So we're contributing to the global work of anticipation and mitigation of harms and adverse impacts on people, may it be physical, social, psychological, but also on the environment and organizations. So, what kind of technologies are we talking about? I'm giving you an example. So Sumaya here, where she's there. So she works on drones, UAVs, that can be used in wireless communications in a variety of ways. She's focusing on their use as wireless space stations and to facilitate communication. And she's trying to look at the safety issues that could arise, so to overcome them. So building on that, I would like to emphasize that safety rules are not constraints imposed from the outside on scientific freedom. Far from that. In the most fundamental sense, I guess we learned that safety rules are respectful life and for the public good. I believe safety is about integrity and about an enlightened understanding of the concept of responsibility. So what's our aim? Well, a good man told me it was freedom. Freedom from harm. And harms that could be caused by the use and development of AI. So that is why I'd like to insist that AI safety is not just a trend. It's a commitment we make here in SAINTS to make sure that AI systems are developed and used in ways that are beneficial, reliable, and aligned with human values. Human values? How? Will you ask? Where's Austin? Okay, Austin here tries to incorporate human knowledge and values into AI systems, particularly LLMs. So he is interested in the alignment problems and techniques for solving it, and I'll need help for that, such as reinforcement learning from human feedback. Very interesting. More generally, I think most of us in the cohort realize we have an ethical duty to not settle for only meeting the established norms, but for design and safety, but to try to surpass these norms. So to see beyond them, to see deeply and systematically. So I think SAINTS PhD students are driven by the conviction that we have to do better and that we have to also aim for better. So it's not only about meeting safeguards, it's about fair and equitable outcomes, which has been said before. So I'm also, of course, thinking of environmental safety. Where's Paul? No Paul.
He had to step out.
Oh. Well, Paul works on a very interesting subject because, as you know, climate change has reached such a level that it threatens the survival of species, including our own. So, and AI development is yet to be fully considered under the lens of ecological safety, maybe energy consumption, e-waste, resource extraction. So that's a lot of topics. By the way, it's interesting that Paul works on the safety of AI robotics in the context of heritage, so historical, but and also nature heritage. So he's trying to build comprehensive digital twins of heritage sites, and while ensuring adherence to UK tort law, private property law, and environmental laws. And in fact, yeah, that's me. And I wanted to skip that slide, but I was forced. So I also work on the environment. I'm looking at ecology philosophers of technology and seeking ways that we can use AI as a means to an end of both human progress and environmental justice. So, because as I said, safety is not about doing the bare minimum, it's about striving for better. Okay? So indeed, we have to remember that AI could reinforce some discriminatory biases, spread misinformation, harms that you know, or lead to invasions of privacy, misuse of personal data. So without ethical safeguards, it could exacerbate inequalities and harm social values. But we could also do the opposite, and that's why Poppy's work is substantial. Hi, Poppy. Yeah. She works on leveraging machine learning techniques to create sign language recognition systems that are capable of recognizing British Sign Language to translate it automatically without the help of a human interpreter. So let's keep going on social safety. Because we have Sean here. Where is he? He works on providing a legal framework to regulate how AI interacts with individuals and entities in the private domain, so that they're used responsibly and in alignment with legal and ethical norms. So I guess I'm proud to say that our team is really full of resources. So we are building on methodologies from philosophy, computer science, safety science, so law, social sciences, sociology, I said that. And our broad range of skills will be necessary to ensure real-life acceptance of the AI-enabled autonomous system. But it's not all about us. Well, I don't have a picture, but we're very lucky to have a team of professors, and not only professors, that are supporting us in this long project, this 4-year project. So the teaching we receive has brought our team together to discuss foundational issues, which we now apply to the challenge context. We also have workshops, as was evoked, that allow us to bring our multidisciplinary ideas to partners, like some of you in the audience, to seek validation or contextual framing. So I know by experience that such favorable conditions are a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So an opportunity to gain the research expertise and skills necessary to understand these systems, but not only, but also allows us to understand our environment and the world as it evolves. So I'm proud to be a good example of how SAINTS managed to actually include a lot of diverse backgrounds and sectors. So I am also Moroccan, not only French, and I grew up in Morocco, moved to France, studied philosophy, political science, worked a bit in parliament, and I think that I'm grateful for this field experience because it's really shaping my outlook on regulation for AI. So I'm honored to have been given the chance to be here today because, as it's been said, it was a very competitive process. So yeah, thanks. Trust me, I know. But as a philosophy student, I'm struck by how much AI safety is an ethical endeavor. But that's been said also, but it's actually a realization I had in the last few months during your seminar. So philosophers throughout history have grappled with similar challenges. So through safety, we're actually addressing principles of right and wrong, fairness, justice, and the moral obligations of our owners, creators, users. That's interesting. So maybe, that's a hypothesis, AI safety requires a collective agreement on how AI systems should be designed, governed, and aligned with our values. And that is why it requires the interdisciplinary work that is at the heart of SAINTS. And I guess we are determined to make substantial contributions to research, industry standards, and policy. We're trying to build a world where we can do better, and we'll surely do better. So first of all, if we want to do that, we have to ensure we meet rigorous ethical benchmarks. So, is that it? After all, I've been told that the golden rule of engineering is to never present a problem without having prepared several solutions. So thank you for your attention. I'm going to let Ellaie now present challenge 2.
Thank you, Nina.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So you can see Nina is quite a character. I'm an engineer by training a long time ago, and I took this challenge maybe a little bit more literally into the questions that we were asked. And I want to introduce you therefore to the mission of the team and to double click on that a little bit, and then to introduce the team members so you can see that we are cohesively looking at similar issues but different issues. So I'm Ellaie McClean. I'm going to introduce you to the Challenge 2 team. So in Challenge 2, we think about humans and increasingly autonomous AI systems working together safely to ensure benefits are realised without introducing harm. We imagine a breadth of applications from standalone decision support systems through to conversational AI capabilities, embodied AI, interconnected multi-agent systems across multiple domains, i.e. the field is wide open. This challenge is important and very relevant though, because even if it was desirable, it's not possible for our environment and legal and regulatory system to transition quickly to fully autonomous systems overnight. It's important that we retain meaningful human oversight and judgment, but it doesn't make the problem less complex. It makes things more complex potentially. To get the real-world benefits envisaged that we want from deploying AI requires scaled usage. However, there are already plenty of instances of AI projects that don't succeed in moving beyond a prototype or maybe a pilot, often through lack of trust that risk is managed. But equally, promoting rapid scaling is problematic too, as there remains many unknowns from expanding usage too quickly in a complex socio-technical environment. As we said before many times today, safety can't be guaranteed, so there is a need for practices that promote resilient real-world usage. It's not enough to focus solely on technology assurance. We need to keep the conversation on safety alive, because to use an analogy from the world of vehicle design, the better the brakes, the faster you can move. So the research aims of this Challenges team's work focuses on what will lead to resilient socio-technical systems. There are 3 aspects we're thinking about. Design for preservation of human autonomy and responsibility, both for those delegating decisions and for those affected by the decision. The assurance of safe transitions between human and AI control, and effective human oversight. So let's look a little bit more deeply into that. And we think that there are maybe 4 research pillars. So firstly, there are implications for human autonomy. In many situations, the purpose of the technology will be to augment human capabilities and not to replace them. But this changes the nature of the individual's work. People derive meaning from having choice and control, and autonomy respecting design aligns with the needs of people and the system and augments what people do. So some research work may focus on design for sustained technology acceptance. People will need to trust the technology is usable, valuable, and will act safely. lack of trust can result in underuse of AI capabilities. So research into user attitudes, perceptions will support understanding and how design should support the context. Of course, attitudes and perceptions are subjective, and AI over-reliance may also lead to harm. So there are new questions about safety when we adopt a human factors perspective, as human vulnerability compounds when we have too much information, not enough meaning, and the need to act fast. So, to look closely at safe human AI transitions, research will study human-centred explainable AI, meaningful transparency, and safe human AI teaming, using concepts and frameworks relating to interaction theory, human factors, and situational awareness to understand how AI could be validated, assured, and implemented safely into an often fast-paced operational environment. For example, by investigating resilience to automation bias. HCI research may help uncover error prevention and mitigation strategies that ensure that the AI aids rather than overwhelms. And this is not solely AI and the operator interactions we mean, but also into the realm of service design within a wider team and within a wider organisational structure. And finally, there is the pillar that considers ethical and social considerations and the practical implications for organisational readiness. So there are ethical questions including issues of bias, fairness, autonomy and privacy to ask, such as who decides what is a safe interaction and what is an acceptable trade-off? And are we creating human liability sinks when the AI is incorrect? Or are we creating an environment where humans must be more concerned about supervising the technology than prioritising the human interactions in their work? So a linked practical consideration to this is organisational readiness. There are ongoing practical debates on whether users need to understand the AI with adequate training and education, or if AI is designed to be user-friendly is sufficient. And adequate training and education will also be a consideration for those procuring AI-enabled technology, safety inspectors, and regulators designing and governing responsible rollout policy and standards development. So I'd like to briefly highlight who is in this team. We have a good representation of disciplines from outside of computer science, from Pernica, who has a background in digital health design, implementation and research, and the role of care technologies in well-being. And Sam, with a philosophy focus, and we'll be looking closely at human autonomy and the ability of individuals to achieve the lives they have reason to value. Within the computer science discipline, Saeed, Dawud and I also bring various specialisms and interests from across the AI lifecycle, from human-computer interaction, design research, and system architecture and engineering, through to data processing and explainable AI model research and development. And I'd like to think that our diverse backgrounds and experiences will help us learn from and challenge each other as we focus on our individual research projects. Our hope is that we will contribute to a new generation of evidence-based methodologies and practices that promote safe AI systems design and rollout. Our work will be strengthened further by finding opportunities to test ideas and thinking alongside our SAINTS partners. And so therefore we are really excited to meet you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellaie. Okay. Concluding this session is with my colleague Anna McIntosh.
Don't worry, I don't really have a talk. It's more instructions that you will follow. So thank you very much for joining us here in the Ron Cook Hub. We're now going to move across to the Institute for Safe Autonomy, where we've got some refreshments, but more importantly, we've also got some demonstrations for you. So we'll be demonstrating some of the projects which are already going on in the Institute for Safe Autonomy. Some of those are with our partners who are here today. Some of those are work that's York University only. But we'd love you to join us across there. We'll be there all afternoon.